So hey guys, Gabriel here, and I don't know if you guys can tell by my voice, but for the past few days, I was basically sick. I'm getting over it now. I'm pretty sure it's in its final stages, but a few days before, it was absolutely terrible. Not as terrible as the stomach flu, because nothing will ever surpass stomach flu. But I think it was more just the timing that happened. So let me tell you guys a story. So a week ago, I'm not the only one who thinks about that fucking song that everyone sings. So usually I get indications before I know when I'm getting sick. So like the indication that I usually always know when I'm gonna get sick is like when one part of my throat hurts. I'm like, okay, so the next day I'm gonna get sick. I'm like, okay, let me just get prepared and everything. That's usually the indication, like, okay, I'm gonna get sick. So that's basically what happened. I felt one part of my throat hurting and I'm like, okay, gosh darn it, I'm gonna get sick and everything. And the next day, yep, my whole entire throat was sore. But the next day after that, I have to go to a doctor's appointment. So the next day rolls around, I go to the doctor's appointment and they tell me I have to get 4 needles injected into me. So I go to the doctor and everything, and they measure me, and I'm actually still 5'11", by the way. I have not grown since the last doctor's appointment. Still 5'11", so I don't think I'll actually reach 6 foot, sadly. So after they measure me, they take me into this room and they give me all the health checks and everything, and then they tell my mom that I'm gonna have to get 4 needles injected into me. I have to get my blood withdrawal, 2 meningitis shots, and a flu shot. And once they said that, I'm like, oh my God. I let out a huge groan and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to get 4 needles injected into me. And my mom was like, you'll be fine and everything, but this is the most amount of needles that have been in me at once. They didn't do like all the things at the same time. They did it obviously spread out. So one thing I should say is that needles don't really scare me. I obviously still get nervous, but I still do the pinching thing to, you know, use it as reference. I'm like, okay, I pinch myself. I'm like, okay, that's what it feels like. And then the nervousness dies down. So the first 2 shots they put into my arm are the 2 meningitis shots. The first one wasn't as bad, but the second one was absolutely fucking painful. And she's like, yeah, the second one is usually the most painful. I was like, okay, thank God you didn't put the needle wrong or anything. And then they give me my flu shot, and then I have to go into a separate room to get my blood withdrawal. So the 2 meningitis shots are put into my left arm, and the blood withdrawal and the flu shot are put into my right arm. Take note of that. So we get done with the doctor's appointment and everything, and it is ritual in America that after every doctor's appointment that you go to, you have to go to McDonald's. As a kid, when you got McDonald's after a doctor's appointment, you were the shit, especially in elementary school. In high school, no one really gives a fuck, but in elementary school, after every doctor's appointment and you showed up at school with McDonald's, you were the shit. So after McDonald's, we go to school. I get an excused absence because I'm obviously late, and this is during math period. So I go into my math class, and it turns out I've missed a couple of notes. I just copy off of my friends like I always do. I copy off of my friends, and I am still able to carry my backpack. I am still able to write. My arms are a little sore, but I'm obviously still able to write and everything. Nothing's too bad. I grab my stuff and everything, and this is where I could just feel the pain starting to settle in. Like, this is where I feel my shoulders like starting to hurt. They start feeling even more sore. I was barely able to pick up my binder and everything. I was even barely able to like put the thing on my backpack, but it wasn't too bad still. So then lunch rolls around. I'm obviously talking to my girlfriend and everything. I'm still like experiencing the pain, and then I go into 6th hour, which is my computer science class, and this is where shit starts getting real. My arms are starting to literally burn because of how much pain I am in. You know how your friends like jokingly just like, you know, punch you in the shoulder sometimes? My friend did that, and I swear to God, I thought someone shot me in the shoulder. It was horrible how much the pain was. He was like, are you alright, dude? I'm like, no, I'm in fucking pain. Luckily in computer science class, we mostly use our computers. We don't have to do any writing or anything, so we were just typing on keyboards. It didn't require any writing. And this is all happening while I'm sick, by the way, so I'm having like horrible ass migraines, and my throat is hurting with, like, you know, the arm and shoulder pains. So after my computer science class, I have Spanish class, and during my Spanish class, that's when shit just starts getting really real. Like, I could not move. It hurted horribly. And the reason why I said note that I could still write, I could not write for the life of me because my right hand, the one that they withdraw blood from, is the one that I write with. So when I'm trying to write, I am in serious pain. So through through my whole entire Spanish class, I am in serious pain. Just trying to write all these things and everything. I'm like, oh my god. I was deciding if I should sleep or not, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna sleep because I have strict parents and they want me to keep an A. And during my Spanish class, I'm just thinking to myself, how am I gonna go to work? Because on that day, I had to go to work, and I'm like, my arms are fucking useless to me. So I was like, okay, I have to tell my Spanish teacher that I have to call out of work. Like, there's no way I can go into work. So I go up to my Spanish teacher and I say to her, like, hey, can I call my managers to say, like, hey, my arms are really sore from all the needle injections, like, they hurt really bad. I can't really, like, you know, do anything at work. She was like, okay, just wait a little bit. And I'm like, okay. She gives me a sign like, hey, you can walk into the hallway. So I walk into the hallway, I call all my managers, and they're like, yeah, it's fine, don't worry about, you know, finding an employee. We're not usually busy on this day. And I was like, okay, thank God. So after Spanish class, it's the end of the day, and my mom picks me up because she's expecting me to take me to work, and I tell her, no, take me home because my arms are in severe pain. I already called my managers and everything. They are completely understanding of the situation. And when I got home, let's just say shit got even more worse. So when I get home, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just lay in bed for the rest of the day because there's nothing I can do with my arms. I can't play Call of Duty, I can't play any video games because I'm pretty sure if I put any movement on my arm, obviously my arms are still when I'm playing Call of Duty, but even then, when I rage, I slam the desk and everything. I'm like, okay, Call of Duty is not gonna be a good idea when I'm like this. So for pretty much when I got home for like, I would say 2 hours, I was basically in bed until my parents called me over for dinner. And when they called me over for dinner, let's just say I felt like I was drunk. I was stumbling over myself. I could barely walk straight forward. If you know, like when cops pull you over for like, you know, being like, you know, drunk while driving, and they do a little test and everything, I'm pretty sure I would have failed that test because I was literally stumbling over myself. Not to mention my head was throbbing. My mom looked up the symptoms for having a meningitis shot, and turns out all the things that I had lined up with the symptoms. So I was like, shit, well, I'm gonna have to deal with this. So after I get done with eating dinner and everything, I go back to bed, and the next day stuff cooled down a little bit. My arms were still in severe pain, but as for sickness, it was still alright. Not as bad as yesterday. So yeah, guys, that is basically the story. I thought I was gonna miss a day of uploading or something. Luckily, I did not. But yeah, see you guys later, and bye.